This is the Meaning Business Podcast, your go-to source for business tips, advice, growth, and exit strategies, hosted by Coudray and Peter Spinder. Each episode, we bring you real stories, expert insights, and practical advice to help you succeed in today's market. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Meaning Business, the podcast for people who want to grow, buy, sell a business with Peter Spinder and me, Bruce Coudray. Hey, what we want to talk about today is growing revenue and what methods or ways, how many ways there are to grow revenue. Because there's been, I think, a bit of misunderstanding about revenue and how you grow it. We're not talking about profit, although we'll get to that. We're not talking about anything except how you increase income, sales, revenue.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I must admit, revenue is a bit of a bugbear of mine. And the reason is because you go to these networking events, and I've been to plenty over the years, and people are enamored with, that business owner, their business turns over $10 million, and that one turns over $5 million. And oh my God, I want to get my business to $50 million turnover. And me, as an advisor, I'm looking at it from the sideline going, okay, but how much money is in your bank at the end of the day? And are you working 500 hours a week in order to achieve what you're achieving? What's the quality of life? So there's so many other factors to it.
Yeah. And like you, I get sick of hearing this 10x your revenue or double revenue and half chaos. And you think, well, hang on. There's only two ways, in my opinion, that you can increase revenue. How are you going to do this?
Yep, absolutely. But the revenue discussion is actually fundamentally important because, as a business, we want to be growing. So growing revenue is part of what we need to do.
It's the funnel, right? Revenue goes to cost of goods, gross profit, expenses. What's that?
Absolutely. So I guess with this discussion, what we want to do is get rid of all the fads and all the stuff that you're hearing out there and just give you the truth around the boring stuff. But it's the realities, the truth.
It's actually not boring.
Yeah, it goes back to what you said before. There's only two ways to increase revenue. So we're going to unpack that today.
Yeah. I'm looking at, on my phone here, I looked it up before we started. I did some preparation. And there's things here like the 4 ways you can increase revenue. The 6 ways you can increase revenue. They're really 2. So kind of
go for it.
So what are the 4 methods to increase revenue? If you want your business to bring in more money, there are only 4 methods to increase revenue.
Okay.
You know what they are? Here they are. Increasing the number of customers, increasing average transaction size, increasing the frequency of transactions per customer, and raising your prices. Well, actually, I think the first 3 are the same, which is more sales, sell more. And the last one, raising your prices, is the second way. So you either sell more or charge more. That's the only 2 ways you can make more money.
100%.
In my opinion.
Mic drop, boom. but you're right.
End of session.
End of session, done. But I guess we just wanted to be really fundamental and really clear with business owners out there that moving aside from all the fads and all the waffle, there's 2 ways. Increase your prices or sell more of your products or services. That's it. That's how you make revenue, top line revenue. That's it.
And why I wanted to talk about this today is very currently in my mind because I've been talking to somebody who has a manufacturing business. They manufacture a product and they make about $300 a year. And they turn over about $5 million a year. They are the cheapest in the market. They're about $2,000 per unit cheaper than their competition. So a capacity, the 300 units a year is capacity. So how do you make more money? How do you make more revenue? Well, you can't make any more because you're at capacity 300. So unless you enhance your capacity to make more, you can't make more. So the only other way is to increase prices. So I spoke to this person about increasing the prices. Now, they haven't put their prices up for 5 years. And if they did put their prices up by $1,000, it'd still be the cheapest. They would make an extra $300,000 a year income. If they put it up by $2,000 a trailer, a unit, they would make $600,000 a year extra income. So why not do it? And the reason is, because I don't want to, I can't. I've always been the cheapest. If I put the price up, I'm not going to be the cheapest. People won't come in. The quality of this product is way better than anybody else in the market, in my opinion. So they've got a mental fixation or block against putting the price up. So what they did to try and improve revenue was not one of the 2 ways, increase sales or unit production or sell more or charge more.
Prices.
Charge more. What they did was they put on a sales manager, a BDM, with a vehicle and travel allowance and expensive wage and a commission.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah. And so they can get more orders, but they can't actually produce anymore. So what they've done is move their order finish date further back, which makes their customers have to wait longer, which makes them not happy. So they've got the cheapest in the market, and now they're taking longer to produce them, and they've got an extra overhead without making any extra income. So if they had put their prices up, even by $1,000, they're making no extra effort, no extra investment, no extra equipment or anything. Straight on the bottom line,
$300,000. And if we think about it and follow that line of logic, that $300,000, you can then take it, reinvest it in capability, in capacity building. All of a sudden, you can go from 300 to 400, 500 units.
That's right.
At the increased price. Then you can justify putting on your BDM because now you want to grow to 400, 500, 1,000. That's right. And as long as you match the sales that the BDM is bringing in with the capacity, you've got a great business there.
So that's why it's important for us to remember in business, there's only two ways or two factors that influence income: selling more or charging more.
That's right.
More per unit.
Now, the charging more is an interesting one. So I did some maths before, and I am going to do the marketer spiel here. We're going to show you how you 2x your profit, right? How to double your profit.
Fact. That's good.
It's almost a fact. So did some numbers, and
we're talking about profit, but not revenue, right?
Well, profit, but we'll start with revenue. Really interesting when you apply the mathematics to it. Okay. So imagine you've got a business at a set price point, you've got set costs, and let's say that your net profit is 10%. So whatever you generate revenue-wise, your net profit, what's left in the bank is 10%. Now imagine if you increase your prices by 10%. I'm just using simple numbers here. When you work the maths, your new net profit actually goes to 18.18%, which means you've almost 2x'd your net profit simply by doing a 10% price increase. In fact, your net profit goes up by 81.8%. That's phenomenal. That's basically saying if your net profit is $100,000, just by doing a 10% price increase, no other changes, provided obviously costs haven't changed, you're going to be making $181,000.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal, the numbers.
It's interesting, isn't it? But many business owners, so it's an easy way to improve profit, an easy way to improve revenue. But so many people resist. So I had the same problem in about 87. I had service stations, and I had very tough competitors who could buy their fuel cheaper than me, and they could sell it below my cost price. And I was trying to compete with those guys, and I would lose 2 cents a litre to try and match them. I was selling 600,000 litres a month, so I'm losing $12,000 a month to try and match my competitor. It was a no-win situation. I had to do something, and I resisted, and my business partner Alex and I resisted. But ultimately, we decided we're going to make 10 cents a litre. We're going to be way above the price-conscious market we're in, and we're going to sell less. Went from 600,000 litres a month at 2 cents, or at the best we could ever make was 2 cents a litre, or losing money, so $12,000 a month gross profit, to charging making 10 cents a litre and halving that to 300,000 litres a month. Now making $30,000 a month. So, to get your head around that not being the cheapest takes time.
It does. And I think the other part of that discussion is to get your head around the trap of discounting, the trap of the race to the bottom from a pricing point of view. Because like we just saw there, 10% increase means an 81.8% increase in your net profit. The opposite is also true with the 10% decrease. You reduce your top price by 10%, your profit isn't going to drop by 10%. It's going to drop by multiples of that, which means you got to sell even more, which means you got to spend more money on your marketing, which overall you're going to have more effort. So this is where we got to be thinking as business owners, stop chasing the price to the bottom, but let's focus in a different way. Let's understand the numbers. Let's understand these different ratios. Yes, in some industries, it's fine to be chasing the cheap. But generally speaking, we want to try and avoid that. So we spoke about the two ways. So we either charge more or we sell more. Now, The problem with the sell more is that in most businesses, like the one that you just provided as an example, and others where we worked as advisors, you hit a ceiling, and you hit a ceiling from a capacity point of view, whether it's a human capacity, machinery, or whatever it might be.
There's got to be a limitation in most businesses.
Absolutely. But one of the biggest things that I've seen over the years is that people, when they hit the capacity, they're just not able to recognize that the problem is a capacity problem. And they think that the problem is some marketing issue. And so they've got to spend more money, typically on marketing, like employing a salesperson. And I kind of categorize sales and marketing in the one bubble in this discussion, like putting on a BDM to go out and bring in more customers because we need to make more profit. But they're not actually recognizing that, hang on a second, if all you're doing is bringing more customers, but you can't service them adequately enough, you're going to have even bigger problems. You're going to end up losing more in the end.
Yeah.
So we're going to be really careful about chasing revenue if we're not actually fixing the back end of the business as well.
Exactly,
we're not improving it. And that's why when people go out and you hear those what was that thing that you said before? Sell more and halve your headache or something like that.
Yeah, so double income, half chaos.
Yeah, double your income, halve your chaos. I mean, honestly, I've never been in a business where we've doubled the revenue and we've halved the chaos. I'm not quite sure how that works together.
Good spin to pitch.
It's a fantastic one.
Maybe it is possible, but the reality is that when you're earning more revenue, you are going to have to do more work or have the capacity to create that work.
Absolutely. And typically it's a finite headache. So there is truth in the halving the chaos.
Yeah.
But the reality with it is that in order to halve your chaos, you actually have to go through the chaos, because through the chaos, you got to invest in machines, you got to go through new processes, a new CRM, a new ERP system. They're all going to come with headaches, going to come with costs, but you have to go through it if you want to increase your capacity.
I also think about this from again, we're just looking at revenues. Imagine you Peter, you decide to enter the real estate market. You're going to be a real estate agent.
Yep.
Right. Take me 2 minutes to get through this.
Yep.
So if you were selling, you got an option. You can sell low value properties, high volume, or you can sell prestige properties and not many. The commission is the same, 2.5% pretty much across Australia. What I don't understand, by the way, is if you sell a $500,000 property, a 2.5% commission, your commission's not much.
That's a lot of money, is it?
And you've got to sell a lot of properties to make enough money to cover your overheads and live.
Yep.
Whereas if you're selling $5 million or $10 million properties at 2.5%, the commission's pretty good.
Yep.
And if you're selling one a month, you're going to make incredible income, which is why a lot of real estate agents are migrating to the upper end of the food chain, and probably why one day the small end is there won't be anyone to represent it, or they're going to have to charge a minimum fee. But the point is, if you're starting out, you've got the choice to go high volume, low margin, or low volume, high margin, or somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely.
And I think this is where we, in business, using that as an analogy, we need to decide, what am I going to be? And yes, it is better to make high margin and lower volume, but not everyone can be that.
No.
If I, as a real estate agent, decide that's my market, there's already, the pie is finite.
Yeah.
There's too many players there. I'm not going to get enough sales
That's right.
a year. So you need to define what your strategy is, what your market is, where you're going to go.
Yep. Absolutely.
How are you going to do it?
Absolutely. And sorry, I was just going to jump in there. That once you've decided that, especially when we're talking about the high volume, low margin sectors, then you really need to be savvy with how you operate your business.
Yeah.
Really got to be
It's a
savvy.
tough market.
Yeah.
So high volume, low margin. If you don't have the systems,
Absolutely.
So I set up a pizza business and I want to sell pizzas for $2. Everyone's going to order a pizza from me and I'm going to run off my feet. But if I can't deliver, what's the point?
And that goes back to that discussion. And that's why I sort of cringe when people are so excited about, this business owner owns a business turning over $10 million. Okay, great. You can have a business turning over $10 million selling $2 pizzas. But if you're spending $11 million making those $10 million worth of pizzas and you're losing $1 million, it's not that impressive.
Yeah. And it's not sustainable.
It's not. Definitely not sustainable.
Yeah.
So quite a few years ago, got called into a client to assist them in growing their business, making more money. Typical sort of engagement, come in, we want to make more money. And the make more money is sell more products, bring in more top-line revenue, and therefore we're more profitable, generate more profit. And when we analyzed the business, we realized that the systems that they had and the structure they had put a complete ceiling on the business. So we went through an initial exercise, bumped up some of the prices where we could, but the problem with that particular business is that it's in an industry that is high volume, that is hyper competitive from a pricing point of view.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, it's one of those industries where, yes, it's important to carve out your brand and be well known as a brand, and people are sticky to the brand, but it's to an extent. Price is actually more important in that particular industry. Really
as
sensitive,
important.
or as important.
Yeah.
There's other factors as well. So we made some price changes, but we realized that, okay, with the price increases, which is lever number one that we spoke about, that's finite. So we got them to a certain point. The problem, however, was more fundamental. Look, we could spend more money on marketing, sell more, but that business just couldn't deliver on their promises to customers. So we actually paused all marketing for about 12 months, made some systemic changes. Then we relaunched the marketing campaign after making those changes, and things just boomed. We were able to take the business from about 2.7 million turnover to about 10 million turnover in a space of about 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Fantastic outcome. And of course, the profitability of the business went up as well, especially because it's high volume. You need the volume to generate the profits. So in that instance, selling more obviously generated more revenue, but the ability to sell more was locked to the ability to actually supply and fill the orders. So we addressed that, and now we actually got another engagement with a client at the moment where they got a very interesting problem, which I haven't come across too often in my business career, and that's that they've been so good at working out how to sell and market their services that their order book is just full. They have got so many customers that their headache is that they actually don't have enough of what they need in order to service their customers.
Amazing.
And so we had a discussion a couple of weeks back as a management team. We discussed, okay, well, the only thing that we can do in the short term in order to increase revenue, in order to bump up the profit, is to bump up the sale price. And when we did the analysis, we realized that this business, similar to the other one that you mentioned where they were $2,000 below, they were below market as well. And so we decided on a price increase, not a huge increase in the scheme of things, but just by pulling that one lever, and it's a small business, they turn over about $1 million, but this one little change equates to about $80,000 of cash extra in the pocket of the business each year. $80,000 in a small business is a lot of money. And while we're doing that, and while we're implementing that right now, and that's happening right now, we're now working on how to fulfill the needs of the other customers who aren't customers yet. They're saying, we want to give you money. So we're now addressing the capacity issue. And as soon as we've got the capacity issue sorted, not only will we have these new customers coming in, but guess what? They're coming in at the higher price point. So it really does pay to understand your numbers and understand how to push and pull these different levers.
Exactly. So for me, my message to business owners is there's two ways you can increase revenue. Only two. Sell more, make more, or charge more.
That's right.
But so if you've been listening so far, you might think, well, we're focusing on the charge more, which people forget. And just to finish on that one, I believe that every business that sells products or services should have an annual fee increase, no matter what, even if it's $1. Just have because people accept it then, and every year the fees goes up. So you're not like my friend who hasn't increased their prices in 5 years. Every year, everyone knows the price goes up every year. And in fact, it helps you with your orders because they know, get the order in December because in January the price is going up.
Big time. And probably one other thing that I wanted to add to the price increase is that when we're talking about price increase, we've at the moment just been focusing on the cost of the product. Let's say, I don't know, something costs $10, we're going to increase it to $11. But there's actually another part of the pricing discussion that we haven't actually touched on. There are some industries, and we've got a client we're working with, been working with them for about 18 months. They're in an industry where when they're providing a particular service, they have levies that they then need to pay. They have certain price certain things that they need to pay for after the service. So things like bin costs, things like getting rid of waste material and paying for those costs. There are certain jobs where they go to the job and they have to hire certain types of equipment that they need to use in those jobs. And so within that business, not only have we increased the price just incrementally, just to be meet the market levels, but what we've also done is we've increased some surcharges, which we need to charge for. We need to charge a customer because that's coming out of our pocket to service you.
Yeah.
Typically, they didn't charge for it because of fear, but now they're charging for it. And all of a sudden, they are so much more profitable as a business. And guess what? Not one customer is put up with this. Yeah.
Don't be fearful.
Yep.
Absolutely. Have confidence.
Absolutely, go be bold. Yeah, it's money out of your pocket at the end of the day.
Yeah. So whilst we have spoken a bit about charging more, I just want to go back to capacity for a second, because if you're making profit, which most businesses should be, if you reinvest a proportion of that profit into capacity or other areas where your business can be either more efficient or more productive, then you're going to reap the benefit later.
100%.
So, if you're making $500,000 or $1 million a year profit, how about you put a portion of that back into equipment or productivity or expanding your capacity, 2 shifts, whatever it is, and grow your revenue that way, grow your business that way. So
100%.
So the two things, capacity and what you're pricing, have a look at it. It doesn't matter. I don't believe it matters whether you're a legal firm or you've got a restaurant or you're a power beater. That's the 2 ways you're going to make more money. Have a look at how you can.
That's right. And probably one other thing to add to this discussion, to sort of wind things up, is that what you do today will impact tomorrow. Yeah. And so let's say in 5 years' time, you decide, okay, I'm going to exit my business and I'm going to sell. Now, if you've continuously been working on your business and doing what you just said, which is reinvesting back in the business, we're continuously expanding capacity and building out our tools. All of a sudden, in 5 years' time, you have a more profitable business, which therefore commands more value in the market, which will attract more potential purchasers. So therefore, you're going to make more money on your exit. But the other thing is that along the way, there may be instances where the things that you actually implement in your business in order to improve capacity are actually building your intellectual property, which themselves has greatest value.
That's right.
And so you can really build a very valuable asset just by pulling on these little levers and making these adjustments over a multi-year period.
Yeah. So thank you, Peter. You remind me of something which was the main point I wanted to make today, which is if my friend just put his price up by $1,000 per unit, and if that does give the $300,000 a year extra revenue, and that's extra profit because there's no extra cost. That $300,000 a year extra revenue will translate to an extra $1 million worth of value on that business. So it's a very valuable shift just to put that price up by $1,000 per unit.
Absolutely. And so it is in these sort of discussions where the whole concept of 2x and 3x, this is really where we can say that is how you do with 3x.
That's right.
It's by the 1%ers.
That's right. And this is where the value advisory really is manifests. Good advisors will help people to, realize don't sell more, don't increase your marketing until you're ready.
Yep.
Look at your HR, look at your systems, look at your processes, look at your pricing. Then we can go about improving our sales and put it all together.
Absolutely. And look, the cost of advisory, to be honest with you, if I look at what we achieve for our clients, I mean, honestly, we should be charging double or triple what we charge because we don't really say this, communicate this explicitly, but we make millions for our clients.
Yeah.
Not just the instant impact that you see from a culture point of view, and revenue point of view, from a profit point of view, that when you go to sell, and in fact, even after 6 months, 12 months with advisory, your business value should be increasing through the things that we're doing. All of a sudden, business that's turning over $15, $20 million has gone up in value by $1, $2, $3 million in the space of a year. For an investment. You go, the value is there.
So, you can go from unsellable to sellable to valuable.
Yes.
By, having a good advisor.
And we're literally doing that with multiple clients at the moment. The one that I just mentioned before, in terms of the prices that we've been putting up with them, they've gone from a situation where they were unsellable 2 years ago to a situation now where they are definitely sellable, and we're moving to a situation where the multiple and the sell price will actually be in a realm where it's going to make it very effective, the business owners, and they're going to walk away with way more money than they could have without doing the things that we've done.
So one last thing about this, an observation I've had for years, is that the small businesses who can afford it need it most.
That's it.
The larger businesses who can afford it use advisory and benefit from it, and so it sort of supercharges their growth. So we know this, and what we've been able to come up with is an offer, a solution where you can, for low cost, help the small business owners to get out of that rut and to get the benefit that the larger corporations get through advisory and to grow their business.
Absolutely. So I think this has been a really valuable episode. I really hope that viewers and listeners, take away the key messages that we've got in here. Look, as always, any questions, comments, feedback, put them in the comments below, whatever channel you're watching, listening to us in. And also feel free to get in touch with us via email. We can have a confidential chat about your business needs.